Got it today at Michigan. Checkered flag for Paul Menard, the winner.
Great job, guys, all of you. Great job, man.
Of course, folks, the NASCAR race on TSN2 later on today. Check your local providers, but it's the Michigan big international speedway race today. They call it the ultimate race. Joining us now is Tim Hauraney. Why do they call it the ultimate race, the ultimate track?
I think one of the reasons for it is that the track is just so fast. This is one of the fastest tracks that all of the drivers visit on the NASCAR circuit. They're going to reach speeds of up to 200 miles an hour, 200 and plus. I think the qualifying lap for it was about 203 miles an hour. So it's very, very fast. It has new pavement on it as well, which the drivers tend to like, has more grip. The tires get more traction on the track, which creates higher speeds. But I think another thing is the engines have been overhauled. A lot of them arrive at the track with brand new engines in the cars for the circuit. So that increases speeds as well, allows them to push higher RPMs while circulating the track. So it's a very fast track. It's one of the fastest ones they're going to visit all year, so it should be set up for an exciting race by the end of it.
Yeah, Harvick was flying around the track and has got the pole position.
Oh yeah, he was smoking. Like, I think Jeff Gordon was second, and Jeff Gordon's big news for them right now because he's fighting for the championship. He has a championship lead right now, and trying to catch Harvick in this race might be tough. A lot of it depends on how much bump drafting they're going to be able to do during the race. So one thing I think about Jeff Gordon is you can never count him out. And same with Jimmy Johnson, who qualified 7th. Both of them are champions. They both have won numerous NASCAR championships, and you're going to see a ton of competitive nature spill through in both of those guys. They're going to be going for the win. Jeff Gordon wants to win this championship this season, so it's going to be a tight race.
Lots of accidents.
At Michigan, there could be a few, not as many as the tighter tracks. When you get on a tighter oval, you get more accidents because there's more cars on it. They all kind of come together sooner. They enter the corners at the same speed rate, and they all seem to kind of come together 3 wide and stuff like that. When you go to Michigan, you get 2 wide. You're going to get 3 wide, but you're going to have more room to operate. There's going to be different lines you can take going through those corners. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Do you know what I always find interesting, guys, and Tim, is that you get the pit there talking to you. You know, they have this very jargon type of communication. It's not flowery. It's get in, get out. You know, I mean, you've experienced that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. When you're dealing with, let's say, an IndyCar like myself, you're getting a amount of information. You're getting a ton of information kind of thrown at you all at once, and you've got to decipher it as fast as you can while dealing with traffic, while dealing with the circuit, and while dealing with the corners that are approaching. You really have to try and kind of break everything down into smaller sections, take the information that's coming to you slowly, and then process that, and then carry on with the task at hand, which is driving the car around the track or fighting for position.
How many times have you beaten up your engineers saying, look, you're not listening to me. It doesn't go fast enough.
Well, sometimes, you run into a problem where they're saying, well, you're going to need to brake later for this corner or whatever, and it's kind of like you're thinking, well, you get in this car and come in and brake later because the car's not doing it. And maybe you're having a problem with brake balance, or maybe the car isn't accelerating properly out of the corner, and you've got to try and relay that information back to pit lane to try and explain it as best you can when you're going in a straight line, because once drivers get into corners, they don't talk. And you see on the TV where it says, oh, the radio transmission is coming through. That radio transmission happened a long time ago when they're on the straightaway. They never talk when they're going through corners because you just can't. There's just too much. There's just too much going on.
But also you got the spotters on top of the grandstands yelling at you, and
So you have so much stuff coming at you, especially on an oval. You have guys that are saying outside, outside, inside, inside, which means like there's cars. Yeah, and there could be cars all around you, and all of a sudden you're a sandwich going through a corner. There's going to be 3 of you going 3 wide, and and maybe you can't see them. Maybe your mirrors aren't set properly, so you need to rely on your spotters.
Okay, Tim, I'm going to put you on the spot. How many times you climbed out the cockpit there and you've got your hat off and you've just thrown it in the pit there and said, what the hell is going on? I'm sure that your French was a little stronger with your English, of course.
Sometimes, yeah, I've done that a couple times. I basically, whenever I got out of the car, sure, I was frustrated. But at the end of the day, for me, I had to have a cooler head and say, look, we need to fix this before we can do this. And you kind of have to take control of the team at that point. And when everyone sits there and says, well, it's not a team sport, it is a team sport. You know, when Jeff Gordon gets out of the car and he's upset, he's upset with his team as well. Like, this is a team sport, and you have to find a way of working all of that stuff through. So when spotters are being difficult, or when your engineer is being difficult, you need to relay that information back to him saying, you're not helping me at this stage. This is what I need you to do to get the most out of this.
Yeah, just quickly before we go, the Canadian Grand Prix, it was a good Grand Prix, but Vettel's been told to raise his game by his team because they're a bit disappointed in what he's been doing, but the car hasn't been the best either for him.
They're having a lot of problems with the Renault engine that's in the back of that car. I know Renault is working very strongly to try and fix that problem. The car and the chassis, which is built by Adrian Newey, it's amazing. Like, the drivers never complain on how the car handles. Daniel Ricciardo, who is he's been absolutely brilliant this season, out qualifying his teammate in almost every single race so far. He's been fantastic, and Vettel needs to start to match him. I think Vettel is having a problem with trying to understand the new technology, which is in the Formula One cars, and trying to figure out how to make it work for his driving style, which is different from Daniel Ricciardo's. So,
yeah, and that brings us on to Ferrari. Ferrari are threatening to pull out of F1, one of the oldest teams, one of the greatest teams, and they say this new technology, this going green, they're totally against it. They reckon that the fans want to come and hear the roar of the engine, the roar of the cars, and we shouldn't be bringing green technology to F1.
He's right, and he could be a bit wrong. There isn't enough engine noise in Formula One. That's something that they will fix for sure. Having a greener Formula One is a good way to go. The way the car industry and the car manufacturing industry is heading in that direction. Formula One does need to change to go to that direction. I think he's more upset with where the manufacturing team is placed in the championship. They're now third. They have Force India behind them. They have Williams that are behind them that are catching up. That is a problem for Ferrari, because if you get passed by a Force India in the Drivers' Constructors' Championship, that's huge. And, Ferrari has threatened to do a lot of things in the past. This doesn't surprise me that this is happening.
But they won't.
I doubt that they're will.
Not going. All right.
I think this is just a threat.
Right, yeah. Tim Hauraney, ex-champ car driver in the studio. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
But it's good. We'll talk to you again soon. I like it that he froze his hat when he.
There's many more questions I'm going to nail it with next time round there.